So next move, we have squats. Now, regularly, you're doing regular squats like this or jumping. Beginner version, let's grab a chair. So now you can sit down and come back up. Sit down, take a rest, and come back up. Now you can also use a table, putting your hands onto the table and coming down and coming back up. So this way you have a little support. Chair is really nice. Now you can work your way towards a lower chair to where the chair is lower and you kind of have your butt touch the chair before you come back up. Lunges. Now, regular version of lunges, you're alternating your legs this way. Now here's a little tip. Lunges, you can go backwards. The difference is it's a little easier for balance when you go backwards. Another version, have something to hold on to. Now, if you come down and your knees hurt, because I was reading those comments, what do? Well, first of all, don't go down as low, okay? Simply just stepping back, bending the knees just a little bit is gonna still work your legs. Now, make sure when you have pain in your knees, don't have that pain to be more than a 5. That means if your knees are a little uncomfortable, it's okay. But don't let it get too uncomfortable because you don't want to injure your knees, especially if you're feeling some discomfort there. Now, next one we have is abs. So usually we lay onto the ground and we go with a leg raise. Working your core, working those ab muscles. Now here's some modifications. Keep your legs bent and come up just a little bit. This allows your weight of your legs to be a little bit lighter, so it's easier to do. Now let's say you can't get on the ground. Sit on the bench. You can hold your hands right here on the side and lift up just a little bit. Now sometimes when you do this, you may feel a lot of hip flexors and thighs, right? So something else that you can do is you can stand up and you can do knee raises. Now this will still work on your hips, but if you bend forward just a little bit, you'll feel your abs engage as well. Something else you can also do as a replacement here is you can simply work on a crunch. Key thing about a crunch, don't strain your neck. If you do this, you're gonna end up pulling a lot of muscles right here. So you want to try to use your abs and you want to actually push your lower back into the ground. This way you'll feel your abs work. Now here's a little tip. You don't actually have to come up all the way like this. Barely coming up off the ground, you'll be engaging those abs as well, okay? Now, next we have running in place. Now running is great for every single human being, but how can we run when we're not used to running? First of all, start off with a step. Stepping in place, okay? This works really well. You can also take your feet off the ground just a little bit, okay? To increase the speed, that also helps. Let's say if you're feeling a little wobbly, well, have a table around or a chair, but make sure the chair does not fall over. This allows you to have a little balance. Kicks. This is great because it opens up your hips, strengthens your knees, and it's a really, really great functional movement. Now, when it comes to kicks, here's the tip. Don't kick too hard. Look at the kick as raising your leg and extending it out, which is basically what you're doing. Now, you might be able to come to the front, but coming to the side might be really difficult because your hips may not open up. So go a little bit lower, okay? The key thing here is to listen to your body and don't try to force your body. Remember that your body actually strengthens by repetition, consistency, not by trying to force it to go harder or try to make your legs go higher. Okay, this goes for every single exercise, all right? Or you can also do a kick by not extending your legs out, having your knees come up. This also is great for your hips. And if you can get your knees to come up, then over time, you can extend your legs out a little bit more. Strikes. So this is great, one of my favorites because it strengthens your shoulders, it strengthens your core, and also your speed. Now with strikes, it's simple just to go slower, okay? Now the great thing about strikes is you can also go with different movements. That's why we call them strikes and not just punching. Remember that strikes is a way to reach for things, okay? And it's a way to go ahead and have speed and coordination with your hands. So just start off going a little bit slower, and you can work your way up. Jumping is probably gonna be one of people's most difficult things to do. I've met many people that haven't jumped in a very long time. Here's what you do, okay? First of all, little jumping. You gotta get your ankles and your feet used to the impact. Now, you see I'm jumping here on this pad, which is great, okay? If you're here on the ground, it's gonna be much tougher for your feet. So use a cushion like a pad. You may have to wear shoes, but your goal here is to strengthen your feet and your ankles, and also be able to handle the impact that's gonna come into your knees, your hips, your back, okay, and your core. So start off small, and here's a tip for jumping. Don't just jump as many times as you can. Look at how many jumps you have done in this last week. If you haven't jumped in a long time, I would give yourself maybe 10 reps and then be done. The next day, if you're feeling fine, do 10 more. There's a good chance that if you haven't jumped in a while, you may do a little bit of jumping and thinking, I feel okay, and be very sore the next day. Now the last one here, plank. So plank is awesome because it strengthens your core, that means your abs, your lower back. Now with your plank, you can have your knees on the ground. That makes it much easier when doing a plank. You can also have your hands on the ground as well, and your knees, or you can have your feet up and you're in a high plank. Now another way to do plank is to use like a table. So holding this position like you're gonna be doing a push-up, is a good way to go ahead and strengthen up your abs as well. Now it may feel easy for some of you guys, but for some of you guys that are watching this video, this might be the perfect combination. Do these 12 exercises every day. This is in combination with the other practices, the other exercises that I do, okay? This is the strength training part, and it's essential because it allows us to build some functional strength, allows us, our body, to be able to move in the most fundamental ways. So try this out, let me know how it goes.